what's happening? So this is like one of those videos that's actually been requested, and one of those videos that I've been meaning to make for a little while. I've just not really got round to it, but now we are. So effectively, this is where I went from winning my show, Men's Physique show in 2019, to starting a prep for my 2020 classic debut, to completely falling off the wagon towards the tail end of 2020, I would say. And then from the end of 2020 to 2022 July, accumulating 80 to 90 pounds of fat and losing a significant amount of muscle mass in the process, and basically what the case is and what happened with that, and how the mental side of it, getting back on track, the setbacks I dealt with and stuff like that is effectively what this is. So yeah, like I said, we'll start off 2019. My editing isn't the greatest, right? But there should be a photo here of like me on stage in 2019. Yeah, we won a show, Men's Physique, and then the plan was always to do classic. So the plan was, right, bulk, July 2022, July 2019 to January 2020, then start prep from 2020, January to June 2020, and compete then. Needless to say, there might have been this thing called a global pandemic that kind of put a spanner in the works, which is obviously not an ideal situation. But here is where we were at when that happened in the prep 2020. I think maybe we were 5-6 weeks in. But luckily, in that point, I had the home gym. I had like dumbbells, 10 kilo, 20 kilo, 30 kilo, 40 kilo, 50 kilo, and all in one gym platform thing, but it had like a leg extension, leg curl, lat pull down, chest fly, stuff like that. So I could get workouts done. And over the summer of 2020, that's what I done. I kept the diet going. I kept doing steps. I kept training 4 days a week. And the weight wasn't good. Like, the weight was kind of, I was maintaining. I wasn't necessarily losing fat. I wasn't really trying to I was trying to stay in shape rather than get like shredded, because getting shredded when I was training suboptimally, I was just going to lose muscle anyway. But that was the plan. Then, obviously, at this point in Scotland, the gyms were completely shut. So I was like, okay, this isn't an ideal situation. My mindset was there. I'm just going to write off 2020 for competing, and I'd rather just give it another year. Gyms will be open soon enough. Lo and behold, gyms were not open soon enough. So what happened was, gyms, I think, the timelines here might be off, right? I think gyms opened in either September or October. I'm a trainer, I'm a personal trainer. At the time, I had literally just went self-employed in 2020, February. Again, there's smart things to do, there's not smart things to do. That wasn't one of them, in hindsight, the smartest thing to do. But, so, at that point, look how my parents like helped me out at that point, but I think I went from earning really good money to £300, £400 a month because of COVID. Like, I wasn't working. And then I worked in Hermes for like a month, but honestly, that's a whole different story. The pay was compared to what you're putting in, and like the wear and tear in your car, I was getting nothing. I was like, I'd rather literally sit and do nothing and wait for the gyms to open than do that. But that's like a whole different story. Anyway, so gyms reopened, started to get busy again, and then December, the government were like, right, nah, gyms are shut again. And that's kind of where this all spiraled, because mentally I went from earning money again to boom, that's it, see you later. And at that point I was training outside, and obviously I could have kept it going, let's be real. The only person that stopped that was me. But with it being like minus temperatures and very low temperatures and training outside, I just didn't want to be honest with you. So I was like, okay, I'll take a week off this week. This must have been about Christmas time when it first started, the second lockdown. And then that 1 week turned into 4 months of not training. And my diet at this point, I was literally eating whatever. Because that was the only satisfaction I was getting. Like, as sad as that sounds, food was what I turned to like kind of keep myself sane. Like, I kind of stopped tracking macros. I was eating, to be honest, I was eating like at least 2 protein meals a day just because I like to eat like that. But there was also like a lot of chocolate, a lot of biscuits, a lot of cheat meals. accompanied with literally maybe sub 2k steps a day, 3k at a push, maybe a walk on the weekend. So obviously, doing that from December to June, this would have been 21, I had to put on a lot of weight. And at that point, I had lost a lot of strength. Mental health was like completely gone. I was trying to rebuild my business, which was obviously a bit stagnant at that point, because obviously who's hiring like the skinny fat PT who lost all his self-confidence, you know what I mean? Because I wasn't as, I'm naturally quite introverted as it is, okay? But obviously I went a lot more into my shell when I gained the weight, I lost the muscle. I just wasn't looking after myself, to be honest with you. So I really went into my shell there, and then business obviously suffered. So all that, and then training. With training, I was, what my issue was is I'm not where I was. Instead of being like, okay, you can get back there, I kept getting into my own head, which is like the mental game started playing with me. I was like, okay, you look shit, you're training shit, you're weak. So I would do a week and then I would go back to the binge eating. Because, oh, what's the point? And that cycle lasted for a year. Remember, I was training 6 days a week, tracking all my macros, stuff like that, from 16. So I think like going from the control to no control because of the COVID just completely made me spiral. And then with that, I just struggled mentally to get back in the swing of it. What I should have done is accepted the reality of the situation. Okay, don't look at where you were. Don't look at any of those variables right now. Focus on getting better. Focus on one day at a time and improving. So literally this went on for a year. So July 2022, I just split up with my long-term girlfriend at the time. I think 3 years, right? I wasn't happy with my situation. I wasn't happy with where work was going, where the business was going. I wasn't happy with how I looked. I wasn't happy with in myself. Honestly, for all accounts, I probably had depression. I was just going through life rather than living life. So again, I got to a point where I was like, looked at myself in the mirror and was like, fix this shit. That is literally like, I just had a moment, an epiphany. I was like, you need to fix this shit. So I took the pros there. I was 290 pounds, and obviously I'm not training, so I lost all my muscle. Naturally, I'm a bigger guy anyway, but yeah, that accompanied with losing all my muscle. You can see here, I literally had tits. Like, for full intents and purposes, I had fucking tits. Confidence was gone. I remember that summer I felt so uncomfortable. I didn't like to wear shorts. It was like 20, 25 degrees, 30 degrees. And I was wearing hoodies because I was so uncomfortable with how I looked. And I just had that reality check where I was like, no, fix this. So what I done, 8.5 minutes in, this is probably the way you want it to be, but I'm saying I'm giving you context, right? What I done was, okay, one step at a time. I remember at the very beginning, I wasn't even tracking my macros. What I was doing, I was eating better, I was eating clean, I was cutting down the chocolate, I was cutting out the cheat meals. I would still always have my Five Guys on a Friday every week, that was my staple. But I would get 2 burgers, large fries and a milkshake. I just cut that down to a fries, chips and a drink. Also, that's still a lot of calories, don't get me wrong, but I'm also saving at least 2k calories there. And then I started walking again. I didn't even aim for 10,000 steps. I aimed for a 30-minute walk a day. I remember doing it 20 minutes. I was absolutely done in. I was like just completely burst. Training at this point, I'll be honest with you, I was still very inconsistent with training at this point because I didn't enjoy it. I'll be honest with you, I didn't enjoy it. Why? Because I was probably, retrospectively looking at it, an ego thing. Like, I thought like people were looking, oh, he's not where he used to be, or he's weaker than he used to be. Nobody cares. Nobody looked at me and went, oh, he can only do the 50 kilogram dumbbells instead of the 60s. What a loser. But my mindset at the time And I know it's silly now, looking back, but obviously at that time, I was looking at it like, that's what people were thinking. And so I would time my workouts at going at like midnight, so nobody was there, so I could feel better about myself, which is ridiculous. Obviously, looking at it now, it's ridiculous. But I know many people with that can relate. But what I would do, I didn't train legs. I'll be honest with you, I train legs maybe once every month. Don't know why. Playing the purposes now, I used to love training legs, but I was honest, I see wearing a belt because I was so big, it was uncomfortable. I was getting lower back pain, stuff like that, just because mechanically my body was different than what I was used to. I was a lot of fat. I only had 4 different t-shirts I could wear to the gym because no other one was fit. It was just like my belly would come out. But I was like, I'm not buying new clothes because I'll lose the weight. And what I done was from July to September, I may have lost like £10. And then, just obviously, this is 2022. From there, I think that I maintained weight for a little bit, but then that's when I started to get back into tracking. And so from October to April 2023, I had lost 50 pounds. However, in terms of like muscle mass, I wasn't really, I gained a lot of it back, but I wasn't taking bodybuilding serious. I was training maybe 3 times a week, 4 times a week, and focusing a lot of steps, just trying to move every day. But at this point, I still didn't enjoy the gym because mentally, like I said, I just wasn't where I was. And if looking back, I hate that I've done that, but you can't change the past. The past is the past. It is what it is. But when things really started to change was April 2023. I put a post there. So you can see I lost a significant amount of fat. However, I wasn't taking training serious. I wasn't the bodybuilder. I knew that I always wanted to compete again because that was one of the hardest things, is like watching. I took a sabbatical from Instagram, social media when I was like fat because I didn't want to look at that. I didn't want to see anything with bodybuilding. I just wanted to go in my own little world, and that was how I survived. But when I did go the odd time I go on social media, I would see people, I was like, I could do that. And then the self-doubt would be like, but if you don't try, you can't fail. Which is ridiculous. Honestly, that is ridiculous. You should not think like that. But that's how I was feeling. You can either try something and fail and let it be a learning curve, or you cannot try at all. And you can't fail if you don't try. That was my mindset, which is ridiculous. You won't get nowhere in life if you have that mindset. So from April, what I was like, again, this is my second epiphany. I was like, you want to compete next year, which is 2024. That's obviously what we're doing. You owe it to yourself to go all in. If you fail, you fail. But you want to compete, you wanted your pro card. This is something you wanted since you were not a little kid. I didn't know what bodybuilding was when I was a little kid. But this is something you wanted since you were 19, 27 now. You owe it to yourself to go for it. So from April to September there, this is what I look like in September. Locked in. No distractions. Nothing that would hold me back. Nothing. I was hit my steps, hit my food, hit my training, focus on the business. That was my life. If I wouldn't like, again, this is not healthy by the way, but I'm kind of all in or all out kind of person. I didn't really socialise. I kind of cut back on social events and stuff like that because I was like, you need to do this for yourself. Like, you need to go all in and actually do this. So I wouldn't do anything socially unless I had ticked all the boxes prior. Which again, I'll probably be like on prep, but it is what it is. I'm just telling you what I done. Doesn't necessarily mean that you need to do that or anything like that. But that's what I done, and obviously I got in great shape there. And the mindset was, I think that was the main thing. My mindset changed. I realised that, okay, you're not where you are, but you can get there. Now I'm the strongest I've ever been. Look the best I've ever looked. Feel the best I've ever felt mentally. And we're pursuing the goal of IFBB Pro, which is crazy. Even I think I genuinely believe I can do it. Like, I wouldn't go for it if I didn't believe I could do it. But even if I didn't and I failed, at least that would eradicate the what if you done it. Because I don't want to get to a point in life where I'm like 70 and be like, what if? You owe it to yourself. Like, I don't want to turn this into a motivational speech, but you do owe it to yourself to try. And if you try, you fail, you fail. If you try, you succeed, there you go, you done it. But literally, probably missed parts out. I probably should have, I don't know if this is the best video, if it came across how I want to convey it, but the hardest part was definitely starting. Like, starting was the hardest part. Really just telling myself, right, you need to fix this for yourself, for your mental health, for your own sanity. And I did, and it was hard. It was so hard. The hardest thing, harder than any prep, was starting. So if you're in a boat where you're struggling with your fat loss or your weight loss, realise that you can do it. I've done it, you can do it. It won't be easy. There will be ups, there will be downs. However, you owe it to yourself to go all in and get it. But if you're needing help, if you're struggling, go on my Instagram at Brad, drop me a message. Not even for coaching, but if you just need somebody to talk to about the mental side of this, then drop me a message and I will do my best to help you in that situation. Now, this is a very long video, but I'm curious. Put number 1 in the comments. If you listen to all this, I appreciate you. Like, comment, put number 1 in the comments, just so I know. But yeah, that's kind of my story. The thing about it, I learned a lot about myself. I learned that when I put my mind to it, I can do it. And if I do that in all aspects of life, then you're winning. So that's kind of what I've established. I can't even remember being that big, to be honest with you, but it was the case. I'm honestly quite embarrassed. Like, that's personally just me. Like, I'm embarrassed that I let that happen. But I truly believe everything happens for a reason. And I needed to go through that to change my outlook on life and change my perspective. I think it genuinely made me a better person, because it made me realise how it's easy, like, when you're in shape, oh, just go to the gym, just lose weight. But when you have that mental barrier, it's so difficult. And I think that opened up to me how difficult that truly is. So I genuinely think it has made me a better person. But yeah, that's my story. I appreciate if you've watched all 18 minutes of me talking about this. But yeah, like, comment, sub. Peace.